Yep. And here we are. G'day, mates. Welcome to SimRacing Unlimited with not just me, as you can see right now, but let me switch the scene here. Here he is, the one, the only, Alex Goldschmidt, providing commentary support. Although he's very small in the frame right now. What is up with that?
I was wondering, hang on, I've become like Honey, I Shrunk the Commentator kind of situation. If anyone might remember the Rick Moranis film, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids film, which was a bit weird. There we go. I'm looking a bit bigger.
It's a little bit better, but it's still a weird format, so let me try and get that right. But that's why you actually prepare things, only to have them not work once you actually need them. Hooray! Alright, let's see here.
Fill in the blank.
Basically that, yeah. I think I know what the problem is here. Come on, give me the full screen, Alex. There we go, that's better. A little bit. Still out of shot, but it's a lot better. That explains things. So, if you are, in fact, recording other cameras, like from Discord, for example, do not, under any circumstance, minimize the thing, otherwise it won't work. So I hope it does now, because the window's active, so we've had this working before, hadn't we? So
yeah, we did. I think I ended up on the bottom right of the screen for everybody, but yeah, glad to be back in the saddle. It was quite entertaining on the last stream, seeing you and Danny having a bit of fun, and of course I managed to be the one that clipped you getting punted and you going, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah, that was
on the last stream, which was fun.
You know, it is what it is. Hang on, I think the problem is the transformation thing. I'm gonna fix this real quick. While I'm at it, please feel free to enlighten our viewers what we are up to today.
Well, I'm effectively Yannick's cheerleader. Because, folks, as you already know, I'm a bloke that likes to talk about racing. And we're going to be going on to AMS2. And it's not just going to be one car class going around Mount Panorama. Oh, no.
No, sir.
Because, of course, if you did tune in to the Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 hours this weekend just gone, you'll have seen an epic race that was decided right up until the dying moments, where we saw a bit of an unfortunate incident between Mao Engel and Jules Gounod, which happened at the chase. But it was for the race lead, and of course we were going to have a battle after 12 hours of racing. I had a 4-hour commentary the week previously during the Rolex Daytona 24, where we had classes decided by half a second.
That's always fun.
It is. Especially when you're the one that's having to talk for the duration of the race with the co-commentator. But that was GT3s. So that's going to be one of the classes of car we're going to be doing as well. But we're going to go full-on supercars because, of course, this year celebrates the 60th running, the 60th anniversary of the Repco Bathurst 1000. And, of course, Gen 3 makes its debut this season with the new Chevy Camaro ZL1 and the new Ford Mustang, because of course they've just brought out their new generation of car, and that's going to be hitting the track very, very soon. But the circuit, of course, Mount Panorama, steeped in infamy. And also, what circuit can you go to where you have nearly half of the 6.2 kilometer circuit that is literally full throttle, right, Yannick?
Yes, it is, and it's only broken up by said chase, which wasn't always the case, mind you. That's gonna be another stream though, once Riza have released their 1983 version of Bathurst, featuring the good old backstraight in all its glory without a chase and, you know, all the danger to life. So that's gonna be good fun.
well, as long as Skippy and his mates doesn't jump onto the going up the hill, you know.
Yeah, which has happened. Look it up.
Yeah, and it did actually happen quite recently as well. I mean, you know, where you've got places like Sulman Park, and then you're going into the infamous Skyline. If anyone might remember a Ferrari going backwards through the gravel back in 2015, where Nissan actually won it in Godzilla with Chio-san bringing the car home, and that was the last victory, I think, if I remember correctly, where Nissan actually won it. But if you look back to the olden days of supercars, where the likes of Gentleman Jim Richards, who basically, and these were his words, and good to see our colleague Vincent is already in the Twitch chat.
Yep. Sup, dude?
Don't worry, we're getting it sorted.
Yeah. OBS didn't save anything, pretty much, so we are almost there. At least the lobby's already up and running. If you want to join us, feel free. This is a public lobby. Just search for SimRacing Unlimited in AMS2, and you're good to go with us. Once I figured out my... Could you center that, please? I'm asking you for the 500th time. That's not it. Come on.
That's not a ripper, mate.
There. That's one bloody ripper, though. I'm sorry. I'm good with accents, but I'm terrible with the Australian one. Although I do have an Australian beverage to keep me, you know, culturally correct. Basically, a good old Bundaberg. Don't worry, it's non-alcoholic. They don't do alcoholic drinks, but it's very good. Nice little lemon brew. Very recommended. Not sponsored though. So
yeah,
let's have a sip before we go out.
Well, yeah, the throats will be well tickled by some welcome hydration there, yeah.
Absolutely, especially considering that this is summer in Australia. Can't forget that. It may be early February, but since it's on this in the southern hemisphere, that's summertime. So, you know, it's gonna be hot. I assume.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to a little bit of historical content here, because I think one of the beauties about being in the position that I'm in, because I enjoy a lot of real life motorsport, just like any of you people out there, you know, we know that the sim racing community loves the real life motorsport just like everybody else does, as Yannik is in the box, in the garage.
In the box, in the turbo brick.
Yes. Bring out Godzilla. It sounds like we're going to get one of those thunderous sci-fi movies. But yeah, Mount Panorama has actually hosted the Bathurst 12 hours as part of the International GT Challenge.
Need to
since 1991.
lower that
Only
a bit.
2 drivers have won it 3 times. John Bowe and Jules Gounod. Jules Gounod more recently, as of last weekend. Mazda's been the manufacturer with most wins, and Nissan has been one of said manufacturers. Well, Mazda actually won it, funny enough, in all cars, of an FD Mazda RX-7.
Well, there you go. As far as I know, this used to be... Oh, no, that's not good. This used to be rooted in production car racing. So,
yeah,
was a bit of a break with tradition and everything once the GT3s rolled around. But that explains the interesting cars that have made their way to the victor or the winners list over the years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is that it was first held in 91 and then went to 95, and then between 1996 and 2006, 11 years, it didn't run. It didn't run at all. So
yeah. Alex, could you turn up your mic a little bit? Because I've got you on max already, and apparently, even with the quieter master volume in AMS2, Godzilla is still too loud.
Right, well, I put myself at max. How's that?
Nice. Yeah, that sounds better.
Well, I mean, the thing is that with certain broadcasts, I still have to change it on Discord from time to time.
Yep.
So, but this is, you know, quite a fearsome part of the circuit where you're going through Summer Park, you know, 4th gear, 200 kph, that's about 120 miles an hour, then into Skyline. This is just, it's just going to be a little bit on the crazy side, just how quickly there's a change of momentum, and even though Yannick's accelerating down the hill, then braking, then turning in, down the gears, now through Forest Elbow, at about 60 miles an hour. So let's see what the VMAX is down through Conrod Strait, and also the infamous chase, because then we have seen it many times before. If anyone might remember the SimRacing Expo, as in the professional trophy, round 2 was at Mount Panorama, and now former Unicorns of Love driver Dennis Schoeninger, who's now with Williams and is going to be at the debut event for the spring season for ESL R1. Don't forget, you can go to our official website, SimRacing. I think is it SimRacing Unlimited? Is it hyphen Unlimited?
It is, yeah.
hyphen Unlimited.com, and you can then actually find out who's competing. Of course, news broke after our rumour article earlier on this week, which was, I think, probably taken the wrong way by a few people, about who's going to be racing for FaZe, and G2 Esports have yet to reveal their lineup. But you know, I would love to see this circuit on Rennsport. And you know, one of the things that we definitely need to have happen at some point.
What's up?
Is for us to actually try Rennsport when the closed beta eventually gets
oh yeah, absolutely,
released to the general public, because there's a lot of talk about that. But I'm digressing ever so slightly. But even though the way it looks and from the driver perspective, I mean, that aerodynamic brick called Godzilla is a bit of a handful at the moment, Yannick.
It is, yeah. It always has been, apparently. I've been driving this, the successor, I think it was, in ACC for quite a while, including league races and everything. And yeah, agile handling definitely isn't one of its strengths, but it's got some character that I always loved. So good top speed, good brakes too. You wouldn't even think that with the size of the car, but
yeah,
it's very good in that regard. So it was the obvious choice for this one, especially since Godzilla and the Mountain are linked together like forever, basically. Can't take that away.
Like two peas in a pod.
Basically, yeah.
What are we topping at? 277 on the speedo. That's right. Okay. So I'm gonna be the sort of like the mathematician as well on this. So
yeah, might be able to get away with less wing too and more top speed as a result.
So Yannick, for those wondering, if you do use the same units of measurement when it comes to speed like I do here in the United Kingdom, that was nearly 172 miles an hour.
Okay.
So if you get to about 300 kph is 186 miles an hour.
All right, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. The weird part is I only know miles an hour in the oval racing context really well, so I know how fast, 232, 236, whatever that is. That's a ton of speed, but with more, somewhat slower speeds, I'm completely lost, except for, 100 kph is about 60 miles an hour, and that's about it.
Yep. I mean, also one of the beauties of me not having a sim is to actually moderate the channel. So a very good morning to Elvis H, wherever you're watching from. Thank you for joining us on the YouTube.
Hello. Good to have you, man. And all the others. Of course, Maxi on Twitch and Vincent. Always good to see you guys.
One of the things I like about simulators, and this is something just from a general observation, is the amount of attention to detail, such as the undulation, the bumpiness of the car, like the damper rebound and the bouncing going through into here, like hard on the brakes, and the car, just by the way that you're just having to make that steering wheel not wander going into the chase, and the bit that Yannick has just gone through before heading through into the final corner, of which there are 23 in total here at Mount Panorama, which is Murray's corner. Of course, the chase is where we saw the incident between Gunnar and Engel, the latter getting a penalty, and then the big old redress. Anyone might remember that in Supercars a little while ago between Garthander and a certain now no longer a rookie in IndyCar, a three-time Supercar champion in his own right, Mr. Scott McLaughlin.
The absolute mad lad, yeah.
Yeah, give it some jandle and yeah.
Exactly. Very talented guy. I mean, obviously I've mentioned that before. I'm a big IndyCar fan, so I've seen him race there ever since he's gotten into the series. And he's been very, very impressive coming from a touring car background here. You know, racing these supercars is just so different to an open wheeler, obviously, and then throw in ovals and a bunch of tracks he doesn't even know, so kudos to the Kiwi.
Yep. Still to be pushing about 140 miles an hour before going onto the brakes into Skyline is just a bit. I think that would be anyone that's new to sim racing, and if you try Mount Panorama, the first thing that you're going to more than likely have going through Skyline is possibly that infamous Code Brown moment.
Probably. It's especially tricky under braking, since the braking zone goes over a rise, so you don't want to be on full brakes at the top of the crest when the car goes light, so you don't lock up. But that's pretty easy to do, so you basically brake in like 2 phases, you could say. Like the initial braking, then you lift off a little bit, so you don't lock up there, and then you brake even harder because you're going downhill too. Good fun.
Yeah, I think definitely after this initial session you're going to need to have a swig of that drink, aren't you? Again?
I do think so, yeah. Love the way the lap time's coming down though.
Oh, 205.1.
Whoops. That wasn't exactly great.
That was nearly Formula D, not GT3 right there.
It is what it is. I'm sure the spectators would appreciate it.
Give him a bit of a show.
Although I'm neither in a Ford or a Holden, but that's a different story for later.
Of course it is. Just don't get too close going through Griffins to that wall on the left-hand side. I think a couple of cars actually got had a few problems. I think there was a tangle at Liquimoli Bathurst 12 hours, which will normally start under nightfall. So it'll be like 6 in the morning, and it's a long old day, not just for them but also for the teams.
Now that you mentioned in the morning, I've just remembered one of the few phrases that I can actually recite in an Australian accent. There's like this YouTube video, I think that's been made pretty popular by Jimmy Broadbent, of the older guy on the bus or something with the VB in hand. It's a VB, long neck, at 20 to 8 in the effing morning. Victoria Bitter, that's a popular beer down there, so.
Well, there was a funny advert which involved it involved Toyota, and it's all to do with the Hilux, because obviously in Australia there's a lot of, there's the Outback, and there's also there's the old road trains, which, if anyone wants to know what they are, they're effectively an articulated lorry with about 5 to 6 long trailers on the back of it, and they are putting in a lot of kilometres behind the wheel. So Toyota Australia's PR department decided to do an advert with regards to the Hilux, and like if something went wrong, it was involving the car, it was involving the pickup, and then the person driving it go like, no, bugger. And the last bit was you got a shepherd with his sheepdog.
Right.
So he's called to the dog, and he's had the shepherd's had to put on the brakes, and the dog's gone flying into that slide window that you get in the back of the pickup or the ute. So, and it's closed, thank goodness. And so the dog literally face plants against it.
Oh no!
And so the dog goes, "Ow, bugger!" So, the new Toyota Hilux, only here in Australia. So it was very, very typical of the Aussie sense of humour, and of course, for those people, if anyone might remember the words That's not a knife. Good old Crocodile Dundee.
This
Mr.
is
Paul
a
Hogan.
knife.
Yeah. And for anyone saying that Foster's is an Australian drink, is an Australian alcoholic beverage, no.
Used to be, I think, but not anymore.
No. I've asked many of an Australian friend saying, "Have you ever had Foster's?" Before they go, "What, that?" Large pole. Words to that effect.
Oh yeah, that I heard too. It's not very popular there. That's true.
No.
I mean,
Only because
there's a joke. You probably know that with a different brand or something, but that I've been told, it's Foster's is like having sex on a boat. It's fucking close to water.
Well, my mates used to say like, yeah, well, yeah, it tastes like gnat's piss. It was the wording that was used. So, but you seem to be improving every single lap apart from, yeah, what was it? What's your best lap so far?
It's 2:05.1. Ah, damn it! Trying to much into turn 1 here.
See, you're trying to put on that Formula D show again.
Yeah, even though I'm not a drifter, well, not, you know, by choice anyway.
Still, at least, well, at least the last time we did a stream together, was it the time when you had the old was it the old Brabham at Spa, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Version. Well, at least the main thing is, touch wood, you've only had some rear end slippage rather than rear end slippage followed by a barrier.
And an explosion, yeah.
Yes.
Not entirely sure where the GTR's fuel tank is located, but I would assume it's somewhere close to the center of the car.
Yes. Probably, yeah, it'll probably be some sort of fuel cell located probably behind the driver, maybe in where the back seats would be.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Don't think it's in the boot, or the trunk, or whatever you want to call it. Because that might be a safety hazard then.
Well, especially if you get rear-ended. Oh,
yep.
Best Sector 2 time. Well
Let's
done.
go. I also don't have much fuel anymore, so this is going to be the last lap, I think, for now, for the qualifying. And then we'll have a neat little 12-lap race. Let's see how that's going to go. Ooh, that was late. But it worked out. Neat.
Oh, stopped it on a sixpence, turned it in. There you go. Happy days.
There we go. So that's a 2:04.8. That's nice. I mean, could be better, I think, for a GT3 around here, but I'll take it. Such a cool track. Such good memories, too. My actual first league win came here, back in the Project Cars 2 days in a GTE, in a Ford. Which was kind of weird because I was always off the pace, and once we got to Bathurst, I think I had qualified everyone else, like iRacing, esports guys and whatever, by a second or so. I have no idea how I did that, but I just like the track, I guess.
Yeah. Well, other manufacturers that have won at the Bathurst 12 Hours, Audi and Mercedes AMG have both won it 3 times. Mitsubishi 2008 and 2009, BMW 2007 and 2010, and Ferrari 2014 and 2017. And also there is one person who I have already mentioned that has won the Alan Simonson pole position trophy, of course named after the late Dane Alan Simonson, who lost his life in 2013 at the 24 Hours of Le Mans back at Tetra Rouge. Well, 2014 was Maho Engel, 2015 Lawrence Vantour, Shane Van Gisbergen, 2016, 2017 the Flying Finn, Tony Villander, Chaz Mostert, Lello Marcello 2019, Matt Campbell 2020, and Chaz Mostert and Mauro Engel are the only 2 drivers that in the running of from 2014 onwards that have bagged the Alan Simonson pole position trophy. And this year, okay, the evolution of the poles was that Mara Engel's pole position in 2014 with Erebus Motorsport, now considering he was also racing V8 Supercars at that point, was a 2 minute 3.8. His pole position lap time in 2023 was a 2 minute 8.819, nearly 3 seconds by a whisker quicker.
That is crazy, yeah.
And considering that was in 2 very different cars, if anyone might remember the Mercedes AMG SLS GT3.
Oh yeah, true. That looked quite a bit different from the current one. Of course, it was technically a different model, so differences were, of course, to be expected, but still, yeah. The one lap that always keeps me coming back to this track, though, is Greg Murphy's lap of the gods. I think of 2003.
Oh, yes.
In qualifying for pole position in the V8 Supercars, where he pipped John Bowe by, I think, over a second. First person ever to lap the mountain at 2:06 or under 2 minutes and 7 seconds or something like that, or 2 minutes and 6 seconds even, which was crazy because these things were still using 8 shifters at the time, and that lap is just so thrilling to watch. Also, it sounds super nice because, you know, huge V8.
Yep. Being the fact that he is a Kiwi as well. And yeah, it was it was 2 minutes 6.85.
That was the one,
and
yeah.
actually, which was known as the lap of the gods and widely regarded in the finest moments in Bathurst folklore. And yeah, he's what I mean, Pukekohe, which is one of the tracks that has been used for V8 Supercars, or Repco Australia Supercars. There's no longer the V8 in the name.
Indeed.
That's been for quite a few years now. Funny thing is that Murph, who's now doing a lot more broadcasting these days.
It's a bit battered.
That McLaren has definitely seen better days, and what it does need to see is a plastic surgeon, the carbon fibre variety. Yeah, I mean, the thing was, he also went into broadcasting as well. He's got a great sense of humour.
Yeah.
And him and Ambrose, remember their tangle going through into Reed Park?
I do, yeah, blocking the entire track, I think, even.
Yeah, and then Murphy had nowhere to go, bang into him, and then all hell kicked off. So yeah, it just goes to show that. And then you look at, like, say, Russell Ingall, Craig Lowndes. They've made the transfer from being a driver, and now Jamie Whincup, the GOAT of Australia Supercars, you know, after last year. Is now team manager at Triple Eight, who are one of the tour de forces. You know, with Mr. Harrison and Mr. Dane. I mean, Roland Dane has lineage because his daughter Jess is in the company and has worked her way up. You know, there's been no word of a lie. The apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, does it?
Yeah, that's for sure. You can always see that with a bunch of last names that keep popping up throughout the world of motorsports, where you go like, wait a minute, there was something or someone with that name like 20 years ago. And then you'll figure out, you know, everyone has kids in the sport, or I don't know, someone's cousin got into racing as well. The Fittipaldis, for example, are a good example, to say example one more time, for that, with Pietro, and of course Christian Fittipaldi, Emerson Fittipaldi, Wilson Fittipaldi, all having raced.
And Enzo Fittipaldi is the next generation, the grandson of
yeah, true.
Who's in single seaters now. I think was in FIA F3. But then you look at, I still remember when, what was it? We had the weekend at Zandvoort for the DTM, where Rocky, aka Mr. Rockenfeller, who's running in the garage's 56th entry this year at Le Mans with Jenson Button and Jimmy Johnson
in the NASCAR,
which apparently has been doing quite a few laps. So
whoops, good start from everyone.
Oh, dearie me, you. Oh, yeah, definitely the person who was alongside you on the front row definitely was doing a bit of a lick the stamp and send it, wasn't he?
Sorta. I mean, he was on pole technically. Also, this track isn't made for standing starts, but flying starts can be a little bit tricky in AMS2, let's just say that. At least in multiplayer. And against the AI, I think they're fine.
Yeah, rolling starts I've always preferred doing in, well, ACC. iRacing, well, a rolling start isn't really a rolling start. It's sort of like, as you get out the final corner, most people are burying the throttle anyway.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it's just been... So where are you now? P3. Okay.
As we descend the mountain for the first time.
Yeah. Whenever... It's really funny though, the amount of times when someone starts singing the line, I come from a land down under. It's just like, oh dear, here we go. Because there was so much... I mean, it still happens to this day that people do get stereotyped in terms of where they're from, their background and that kind of stuff, but... excuse me. You can't discount the fact that Australia is an absolutely awesome place for going racing, especially with the amount of circuits they've got. You haven't, like, seeing the race at Surfers Paradise.
Oh yeah, that was the first one that just came to my mind as well.
Surfers Paradise, the Ben Motorsport Park.
Yep.
Oh, careful of that wobble coming out of Murray's there, Yannik.
I'm trying.
I know, very trying.
Can catch these guys, don't worry.
I have every faith in your abilities, my good man.
Well, that's your own fault then.
Well, at least it'll be better than me. I'll probably end up going off the circuit and straight into the wall.
Yeah, we need to see if we can, you know, try and prove that theory at some point soon.
Well, yes, I'm hoping that is the case, because hopefully some of us will be together at SRU HQ in the not too distant future.
Indeed.
So we're going to try and see if we can set something up where, yes, I will be getting behind the wheel. Will I make an ass of myself? Damn right I will, and I'll have a lot of fun doing it.
I was about to say, that's the fun part about this.
Exactly, because if you can't have a laugh at yourself, I mean, life ain't worth living at the end of the day. It just, but then at least people go, you don't race much. I don't race at all. Why not? Because I don't have a sim.
Yeah, it's about time then, I guess.
Yeah, but then that comes down to certain factors as well. So like room, equipment.
Indeed, yeah. Especially the space thing is a bit of a hassle, or can be at least. Used to be like that for me as well, until we figured out, well, this little nook right behind our office door, which you can see over there, would actually fit a sim rig. You can't imagine how fast I was, you know, back to websites ordering stuff once that realization hit.
He was like Speedy Gonzales or the Road Runner. Like,
basically, yeah. Keep.
Yep, indeed.
These guys are doing pretty well up there. I do think I'm catching them ever so slightly, at least through the twisty bits.
Because then at least you don't have to worry about the brick style aerodynamics of this car.
Exactly.
Even though it's a 3.8 litre V6 with twin turbos on it. Doesn't hang about though.
No, it's got plenty of power and everything. I think the defining characteristic of this car is understeer for days. It's not as bad in this version, but the ACC version, like once you hit, say, Blanchimont at Spa, you always had to turn in so precise and so much earlier than everyone else to make that corner full throttle. Otherwise, you would just go way wide.
Stand by for action. That's my call to the marshals, just in case Yannik goes off. Goes off, coming out of McPhillamy, going into Skyline.
What are you talking about? I've got this. Also, the Porsche just brushed the wall.
I was just about to say, I did see some tyre smoke just there.
Oh, sorry.
Not from you, though. Quite funny, though, that when you have a car that, in its production capacity...
Oh, okay.
Is actually full-time four-wheel drive. Oh, what happened to the guy in front?
I don't know.
Porsche?
Yeah, he's just disconnected, apparently.
Oh dear.
That's a shame. Just as I was looking forward to a nice battle, but maybe we can get close to the Merc up there.
Oh, well, we did have 7 cars started, we now have 5.
It's not a terrible ratio, though.
No.
We had 21 starting our league race on Saturday, no, Sunday actually, and I think by lap 6 or 7 we had 6 retirements due to various reasons, so quota isn't too bad here, I'd say.
So, it's fluctuating anywhere between 1.8 and 2.5 seconds between you and the guy in front, isn't it?
Looks like it, yeah.
Especially when it goes into, yeah, now it's down to 1.3.
Downshifts in these cars sound just delicious.
Just sounds like a dessert after a very, very good meal. It's like, yeah, 3-course meal. Yeah, here comes the dessert.
Indeed. The AMG might have a little more grunt down the straight, though. Looks like it anyway.
Well, considering the fact it's got nearly double the cubic capacity, and it's a naturally aspirated car, I remember it was quite funny. I got someone tried to call me out during a stream saying, "No, the Merc GT3, it's a 4-litre V8 twin turbo like the road car."
No, it's not.
And I said, no. I said, if you go to Mercedes AMG's official website for customer racing, it's a 6.2 litre naturally aspirated powertrain. And then I went, if it ain't broke, Mercedes aren't going to fix it, are they?
Why would they? Yeah.
And it was quite funny because I was having a debrief afterwards, and one of the guys went, "That was brilliant what you said about the Merc." I said, well, yeah, because it's a tried and tested formula. If it works well,
yeah,
customers are happy. Customers are king when it comes to GT3s. You know, even with developments, I'll say they may have tested a 4-litre twin turbo V8.
Could be, yeah.
But they might have gone, nah, 6.2 litres got a better power band. So it always depends. But then at least, yeah, you've got the Aston Martin, which pretty much has the same engine on it. Oh, can I say that out now? The 4-litre twin turbo V8, which is actually an AMG engine, but it's just been
It's true, yeah. I keep forgetting that.
And considering, oh, who's their power unit supplier in Formula 1? Oh, go figure.
I think it's been that way for quite a while, though, hasn't it? I think
that was from the Racing Point days, if I remember correctly.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember now, but I think I first encountered that fact in the mid 2000s or something, that there was actually Mercedes engines in Aston Martin race cars, or well, Aston Martins period.
Yeah, it's quite funny that that effectively before 2010, McLaren was the Mercedes works team, effectively under
Indeed.
when Norbert Haug was still head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport. I still remember when he had in the 90s when he had a big old crop attach.
Oh, that was a proper mustache.
That was the Germanic equivalent of Tom Selleck motorsport style right there.
That was Mansell levels of facial hair, yeah.
Oh, Mansell and Selleck all roll into one, and you get the Germanic equivalent.
Definitely,
Enter
yeah.
Norbert Haug. And interesting fact, folks, is that the corner now known as Yokohama of the Nürburgring GP circuit, it was originally named beforehand Haughagen.
The Haug hook, basically.
Exactly. Because I had to brush up on that for the Sim Racing Expo finale for the professional trophy. I was like, right, okay, I need to find the right map. And that gap seems to be extending a little bit.
Yep, it does. He's doing well up there. I gotta say though, this feels just fantastic to drive. I've been harsh on the GT3s in AMS2 and had a bit of an awakening sometime last summer when they updated the tire model. You can probably find, or should probably watch our YouTube video on that if you haven't already, though it's in German, but it doesn't matter.
Well, it was in a bright green Mercedes AMG GT3 as well to boot.
It was, yeah. And I was very surprised how much of an improvement they put in for these cars. So no surprise that the most recent GT3 car they added feels just sublime to drive.
I mean, with regards to like well, I've got a question for him. Of course, you're getting all the bumps and the undulation on the circuit. How is that transferring in terms of the feeling through the direct drive on your rig at the moment?
Oh, that's pretty good. Force feedback, of course, is always, personal preference and everything, but the way I've set it up with AMS2 right now, it has to be one of my favorites right now. It's so detailed and responsive and everything, so definitely a nice feeling.
I mean, how high... Now, this is where I can actually quiz Yannik on certain aspects, so you guys and girls out there in sim racing land aren't just learning stuff from me, but I'm also learning from Yannik, because, okay, I've been in the sim racing industry now for, would you believe it, nearly 3 years, Yannik.
Wow.
3 years since the pandemic all started and everything got bleeding locked down in March of 2020. I mean, as you say, having the force feedback is a turn of preference. I mean, if you were to set it on 100% force feedback, what would be the torque that'd be going through the steering wheel and the direct drive hub that you've got?
Well, at the peak it would be 25 Newton meters, but that is just not raceable, at least for, your average sim racer, I'd say. I've tried that before, and after 3 or 4 laps, you're just completely exhausted.
A bit like Robert Wickens when he did the Le Mans Virtual 24 Hours, and his direct drive instantly reset for some strange reason to 100% force feedback.
Yeah,
Plus also having to use hand controls at the same time.
Yeah,
that was not good. And who was he teamed with? The legend that is Mr. Jimmy Broadbent.
Oh, of course. Though Robert's become a bit of a legend in his own right, I'd say. With sharing his journey after that terrible Pocono accident, getting back to life and to racing too. Takes quite a lot of, well, for the lack of a better word, balls to do that.
I still remember interviewing him. If anyone might remember that in 2016 we had with the DTM we had the Motorsport Festival Lausitz, where we had ADAC Formula 4 Germany. We had ADAC TCR Germany. We then had DTM as well. And I remember Miguel Molina winning on the Saturday and then getting punted, then punting Augusto Farfus into on the Sunday. And Robert Wickens was grinning like a Cheshire cat. Really, really nice guy. Really nice guy. And I managed to actually interview him for a website that was touring car specific, and I was doing the DTM coverage. And that was when I had my own experience in a GT car.
Oh.
Yes. A big thank you. Well, at the point, and this was all way before VCO was started by a certain Mr. Florian Asper. Florian was working for BMW through Bureau Plus, which is the communication and marketing agency that he's a director of in Munich. And I had been asking him for a taxi ride. I wasn't too bothered what it was, whether it was a GT3 car or whatever BMW race car it was. And he said, Alex, look, finally got you a taxi ride, but it's not in the DTM club. Look, that's not a problem, Florian. I think any kind of race car experience is going to be a good one. I said, yeah, I've got you in the 2011 BMW M3 GT2 that raced at Le Mans.
Oh, alright.
And Dirk Werner was my driver.
Sweet.
And to this day, you know what? I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do like a motorsport memory style SIU like stream at one point where we can talk about moments that we've experienced. Because I actually have a signed visor of the BMW Race Taxi Legends, signed by Dirk Werner himself.
Man, that's cool.
And he's put on there what car it was, so the M3 GT2 Lausitzring 2016.
Cool. Yeah, those kind of experiences tend to stay with you for a lifetime, don't they?
I still remember what was it? I posted on my own Facebook profile the pictures of me in the allocated BMW Motorsport Puma race suit. So I was in the iconic colours, which are now adorning a lot of the current production models, because obviously it's 50 years of M this year.
True, yeah.
With the propeller on the front of the cars now having the iconic, if anyone might remember when Jochen Nerpasch was the man that actually instigated BMW Motorsport following Bob Putz's move from Chrysler, well, from Ford to Munich, when the Capri was dominating everything in touring cars. Then along came the Batmobile, the 3-litre CSL that went to IMSA, with Striezelstück being one of the drivers in that crew, which also included I think also, if anyone might have seen the Adrenaline documentary about BMW and touring cars done by Stereo Screen, Nick and Tim Harner. Epic. And it's all about BMW's touring car history, right up until BMW returned to the DTM with the M3 and then won all 3 titles. So it's Team Schnitzer, BMW and Bruno Spengler winning in 2012 on their return after nearly 2 decades away.
True, yeah, I remember those days. Good times. But yeah, see, guys, can always learn something here. It's not just, someone driving a little bit and telling you how awesome this is, but actual racing knowledge of the historical kind. And anecdotal too, so.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I love every kind of motorsport, and Yannik knows all too well about that when we have regular conversations about moments in motorsport. And when you think about the amount of real-life drivers that use sim racing as a very, very good tool, because gone are the days in like the 1990s and early 2000s in Formula 1 where you could go testing ridiculously.
Yeah.
Like say Anthony Davidson when he was with Toyota, when it was the Formula 1 team with the likes of Mika Salo and Alan McNish, would just go. Alan McNish would go out and test, and he was doing like thousands of kilometres, like tens of thousands of kilometres to help develop the car. And now there's the cost cap. So what does everyone have to do? Oh, jump on the sim.
Indeed. By any chance, do you know the Twitter account of Unraced F1?
No.
That's the first one that came to mind for me because they post, cars and drivers and combinations of both that never actually got to race in Formula One. And recently, they've been putting out a ton of testing pictures, like drivers that I've never heard of or never thought that they would even ever have gotten close to an F1 car. Super interesting.
Oh yeah, there we go. Found it. And now following.
Nice. Always good to brush up on your trivia knowledge regarding racing facts.
Yeah, it's always it's always the way. I think there's so much history out there, and also sim racing has its own racing history. You consider that going into this weekend's ESL R1 event in Katowice for the Intel Extreme Masters, and it was really interesting to see that Niels Neuox, the BS competition, has been sim racing for 20 years.
Yeah.
That is, I have to say, considering he's in the same age bracket as our very own Danny Juicer. Hello, Danny.
Hello. They actually went to school together. Did you know that?
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay.
Oh, Danny and I have had a conversation about that, but yeah, Niels is a very, he wears his heart on his sleeve, does Niels. And but I think that's a good thing. I'd rather someone be honest than someone go like, say one thing to my face and then say another thing behind my back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's honesty is the best policy, folks. But you're still within 3 seconds. Was it?
Yep.
Is it last lap? Is it?
Penultimate lap, yeah.
Penultimate lap. So white flag next time. It's an Americanized term there.
Indeed. Managed to keep it off of the wall though so far, so that's good.
2 thumbs up in my book on that one, Yannick.
Thank you. Try my best. But so is the other guy up front there. He's doing really well.
That's fair enough. I still find it quite funny that if anyone might remember that awesome interview, which you can watch on our official SimRacing Unlimited YouTube channel, for those that are watching on it now, that Yannick got to interview a man that loves his sim racing, Mr. Kanan, of course.
Indeed, yeah. What a guy. What a legend, too. What a pleasant partner to chat to. Very cool interview. Sound quality isn't the best, but you definitely should check it out. Lots of interesting takes on sim racing and of a very storied racing career, too.
I think also there's one thing that we haven't really let slip, but there was a little bit of a blooper, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell the story? Because you're busy on the final lap.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So, I'll tell you the abbreviated version. So, I spot Tony and his lovely wife Lauren in the media lounge at the Sim Racing Expo. I went, right, okay, I'm gonna go over and see him. And Yannick is behind me. So we set up the interview, and we were due to do it I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning or something, because I was due to be on commentary for the professional trophy with Paul, our good friend Paul Glover. Also, we had a few other guests on that stream, on that broadcast as well. Tony ended up running behind because I had to run to the stage to get myself ready. And there's about 2.5 minutes into the interview, one of the waitresses drops a metal tray, just going to that good old gong style sound. And Tony was the most calm, cool, collected professional as someone of his stature would be, saying, "Oh, we'll do that again."
Yep.
Which is a really, really good moment. And yeah, we're waiting with bated breath, folks, as to when Sim Racing Expo 23 is going to be happening and where. So I'm sure that will be communicated in due course once everything has been agreed and finalised. We're all looking forward to being back there, aren't we, mate?
Absolutely. Last year was basically, yeah, just an incredible event. That's that sums it up perfectly. It was so big, so nice to see everyone again. You know, community, exhibitors. The stage was just extremely cool. So yeah, can't wait for the next edition. Also, hats off to my Mercedes guy up front here. Very well done. Also, I don't think you could see that on the stream. I've had a little warning pop up on the penultimate lap to the right, saying turbo failing, which you know, wasn't exactly ideal, I'd say. Good thing this race was only 12 laps, but it's a nice little way to show off the damage model in AMS2. It's not just you blew your engine because you drove too hard or something. There's actual components underneath that fail because of the way you drive if you overdrive stuff. So, you know, one of our league guys had an oil leak because he was running in the ref limiter all the time in my draft in the V10 Formula 1 for like 6 or 7 laps. So, yeah, oil leak, engine blew up, and that was that. So, pretty good stuff in a way. Not for him.
I've got one sentence to say about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn how to short shift, buddy.
Yeah. Also, check your gear ratios before starting a race. That was the biggest problem, I think.
Oh dear. But still, put it on pole. Finished second.
Yeah, it was
Not
good.
a bad start to the day.
I'd say so. But now we shall change classes, namely to said not V8 anymore, but supercars.
Right.
These guys, not modeled after a specific car, so neither Ford nor Ford nor Holden.
Forden.
Forden or Holden.
You've come up with a new brand all by yourself.
There
mate.
you go. Is
Bloody
that a new
hell.
Forden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, it's the love child, mate. It's the love child between Ford and Holden. They just
Exactly.
didn't tell anybody yet.
So,
Oh,
any
right.
preferences for liveries?
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that. We're going to go Lounsey Retro. The Autobahn livery, please.
Autobahn. There we go. Neat.
Which is the
Cool.
one. There we go. And for those wondering, that was the livery that Craig Lowndes, Mr. 888 himself, raced in. I think, what was his farewell season as a full-time driver. I mean, he has still been racing. You know, you never can put a racing driver down.
Of course not.
And I don't mean that in a veterinarial sense there, folks. What I mean by that is this, that it doesn't matter what discipline you're in, you will always find a way to get on back. And then we jump in horsepower because these will be naturally aspirated, V8s. And as you can see on the screen, 631 horsepower, 637 Newton meters of torque. And I would imagine now, Yannick, we're switching from paddle shift to good old sequential.
Indeed, a good old sequential stick. You might be able to see the top of it at the bottom of your or of the camera here. On the wrong side though. These things are right-hand drive. Since I'm a good old continental European, I am used to left-hand drive, so that's where my shifter is, and I really didn't want to break out the toolbox and rearrange everything on my rig. So it's it is what it is.
I did have a laugh at your expense a little bit earlier on when I said, yeah, it's a bit like the ITC in the 1990s, because they had, because for those people that don't remember, up until 2011, DTM used, especially if anyone might remember the good old ITC days of 94 and 95, where it was the rip your shoulder out of your socket sequential gearbox.
Yeah, those things were hard.
And for those wondering, who was the last... Right, I'm going to test your knowledge a little bit here, Yannick.
Ah, jeez.
Okay. Who was... Right, this is a three-pronged question, but because it's DTM,
okay.
I'm hoping you should know it. So, name the driver the livery of the car and the manufacturer that won the last ever DTM title under sequential gearboxes.
Under did they have that when the DTM relaunched? I'm not too sure. I think like when the Audi TTs and everything were racing, I think they had the sequential stick still.
Yes, I'm talking 2011.
2011
Right.
even. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Because
was
it went to paddle shift in 2012.
okay. Yeah, that was when I was way out of the loop already, I think.
Okay.
So
Shall I put you out of your misery?
I'd have to throw in a random guess. I know that Martin Tomczyk at some point finally got a title in DTM, but I'm not sure if it was...
You've got the driver.
Oh!
You've got the driver. Yep, Martin Tomczyk, 2011. And it was in the Audi A4 DTM.
He
And
raced
back
in
then,
Scheffler colors, didn't he?
He did race in Scheffler colours.
See, he's not all that dumb. Nice.
But the thing is, this goes to show how much. I mean, if people want to know how far back I go with DTM, I first watched it in 2008.
Okay.
At Brands Hatch. And yeah, it was the Audi A4 DTM. And Martin Tomczyk then ended up becoming part of the management team at DTM.
He did, yeah. Kind of
and
following
now
his dad's footsteps in a way.
And it was in the Scheffler colours, which also happened to be run by a 2013 DTM champion from the same manufacturer. Mike Rockenfeller ran in Scheffler colours at one
Oh
point.
yeah, true.
Who runs in Scheffler colours now? Marco Wittmer, who has yet to secure his third title. Unfortunately, Bene Haas has done that in a very, very short time span. And I have to say, going to be interesting with the fact that a three-time DTM champion is partnering with now the defending DTM champion, Sheldon van der Linde, and Bene Haas in the same stable for 2023. That's going to be tasty, especially with the fact that Project One and Schubert Motorsport have just been announced as the two teams competing in the DTM this year.
Yeah, indeed. It's pretty crazy times these days with the restructuring and everything, with DTM now running under the ADAC umbrella. So Schubert actually was a GT Masters team, but apparently they figured they might as well switch to DTM then, since they share the majority of the calendar anyway. And they've got a ton of GT3 machinery lying around too, so why not?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's don't do the redress. Don't do the redress.
These things are quite a bit heavier than the GT3s. You can definitely tell on the brakes. Also, I don't think they have like carbon brakes or whatever. I think that's good old steel disc brakes.
Old steels, pads and rotors, mate. Pads and rotors, they're steel, mate. Get used to them.
Yeah.
Imagine that. I sound like the Aussie version of the car chief, like the crew chief on iRacing. On to your left, clear.
They say you cut the course.
Yeah.
How about the sound of this thing, though? This is awesome.
I mean, there's nothing
Whoops.
like a V8.
No, maybe a V10 in a Formula 1, but that's a different story.
Well, that's what Charles Leclerc has recently just experienced, running the car that Schumacher and Barrichello actually raced in.
Yeah, indeed.
Today.
What a lucky man.
Mate, comes with the territory.
Yeah, you would think. Also,
Yeah,
these
quite
are a lot less planted than GT3s,
Oh yeah.
in case you weren't able to
loose.
tell.
Yeah, she's got a loose rear end, mate. Yeah, just watch out for that oversteer.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll kill ya. Also, I think these are one of the few remaining race cars in the world that still have a fixed rear axle, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah, I still remember the fact when Chaz Mostert won it, won the Bathurst 1000 in 2014 in the Pepsi Max car. And what happened the year after? Coming down through the S's, bang, straight into the wall, massive incident, and yeah.
Didn't he break his leg in that?
He did. He did. It was a big old.
Damn it!
Big old moment. But then also there was another big old moment. I was going to say, are there incident points for? Well, apart from the fact that lap time has been invalidated.
Yeah. I think I need to open my brake ducts too, because they don't really cool down that much before corners, so that doesn't help.
Also, another big crash was coming down through Conrod and heading into the chase, and I still remember Neil Crompton, who's one of the commentators for Repco Australia Supercars. And one of the cars actually the left rear tyre delaminates whilst he's going at 300 k's going into the approach into the chase. The car then steps out and then rolls, and then
oh no!
Oh,
there you go.
God.
Tells you all you need to know how tricky these things are.
Well, at least my curse didn't hit until now.
Yeah, good old commentator's curse. So let's see. Yeah, these need opening up a little bit.
but like as I was alluding to, Crompo goes, that was Barguana. That as in Jason Barguana. It was actually Fabian Coulthard, who is related to David, of course.
Is he actually? I always thought he wasn't.
He is actually related. Yeah.
Huh.
A lot of people go, oh,
learned something new again.
Well, yeah. Well, Fabian's from New Zealand and David's from Scotland.
Right. That's why I thought there wasn't any connection there.
Yeah. He's David Coulthard's second cousin.
Ah, there you go. There was someone there who caught me off guard with that. I think it was Oliver Solberg, because he's racing with a Swedish license instead of a Norwegian one. So I figured, nah, no relation to Petter, but apparently his son. Oops.
Well, and that's quite funny because his dad's Norwegian, his mum's Swedish.
Yeah, that explains it.
And it's very much like, say, a certain Mr. Max Verstappen.
Indeed, yeah.
He's Belgian and Dutch. Like Lando Norris, he's Belgian, he's part Belgian, he's part English.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. Careful.
I'm trying.
I don't know. It's like Churchill, it's like the insurance company Churchill in the UK with the bulldog going, I don't know. Yeah, always. I mean, it's so funny when, because this is a routine thing that happens, isn't it? When people go like, yeah, I want to see the Bathurst 1000. It's like, yeah, it's available on this, it's available on that. It's like, oh, why is there no international stream?
Yeah.
So I just end up following the relevant social medias, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's also a little bit difficult with the time zones, since Australia is obviously like what, 8 or 9 hours ahead of our time, so that makes it a little more. Oh man, I braked way too late. Damn it, again! I'm never getting this corner right. But yeah, reminds me of the good old carefree childhood days of getting up super early on Saturdays, no, Sundays actually, to watch the Formula 1 season opener at Melbourne.
Or also watching the Japanese Grand Prix when it was either at Fuji or Suzuka.
Oh yeah, that too. Man, this thing sounds good, and I also love, driving these manual sequential cars. Flipping the throttle yourself on downshifts. It's just so much fun.
I mean, like going over that bump on Mountain Straight. like literally, you could hear when Yannick was still full chat on the throttle, and as he went over the bump, you could tell that the car lost traction and the revs just like literally went
Yeah.
about 240 kilometers an hour.
Very reassuring, let me tell you.
Yeah, when you're going like, "Ooh, that was not part of the plan." I think at one point when they were, I think they used to have like a speed indicator for the cars. Like they'd have a sign of how fast they were going, so the fans could actually tell how much speed they were carrying heading in towards the braking zone for the chase. Which was
Yeah, these things pick up quite a lot of speed down the straight here. They're faster than the GT cars, even though they don't look like they are.
even more of an aerodynamic brick than the Nissan.
Yep, and heavier too. And I locked up, but I'm making this corner, finally. Sorta.
293 kph, folks. Yannick was doing over 180 miles an hour. Yes!
Hooray!
More speed.
I also shifted a little bit too late. But I've got a lap now. Interesting to compare these to the GT times, because I think I was about 2 seconds faster there. Which is not to say that I couldn't go 2 seconds faster in this car with more practice.
But it's more of a handful, as you rightly said. You know,
Definitely, yeah.
the GT3s have ABS, traction control.
Yep. None of that in this thing.
Yep.
Ooh, so close to the wall there.
Yeah, there'll be some paint marks. Yeah, it'll buff out, mate.
I didn't hit it though, at least I didn't feel like it.
No. If it did, then it would be like, oh
yeah.
buff out, mate. Yeah, we'll get a new wrap on that thing.
Likely,
Because
yeah.
That's what they tend to do these days.
It's not paint anymore, yeah. There we go, 6/10.
Ooh. Dumb. You were just 5 kilometers an hour away from 186 miles an hour. 295 when you braked.
In a box like this too, that's just incredible.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like when the car gets over like 4,500, 5,000 RPM is when it really starts to pick up speed.
Absolutely, yeah. New best lap, 205.3.
Oh.
This is heading in the right direction.
For those wondering about the car, well, considering the fact that the cars that were being used up until last year, the car of the future, or Gen 2, well, the Holden Commodore is actually the same body style as a car that is actually still, to this day, from what I understand, still available as a road-going car in both the UK and in Europe. Ooh, you'll know this name anyway. The Opel Insignia.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
Never figured that was based off of that, but yeah, makes sense.
well, the thing is that that car has now been discontinued.
Oh no!
Well, Stellantis, which are now the parent company for Vauxhall, for whichever territory you're in, folks. Here in the UK, it's Vauxhall. Yeah, and yeah, effectively that in Husselheim, which is the factory where the insignia was, that yeah, the insignia would be replaced by a car that will have a, I can't believe I'm saying this, a raised crossover style body.
What?
Why? Give us a good old sedan, give us a good old saloon. I loved the Opel Insignia. I used to work for Vauxhall for quite a time when the Insignias was running around. And it was a wonderful car.
Huh.
Another personal best there, Yannick?
Yep. 204.9 this time.
Ooh, 7/10.
Yeah. So looking good. Unfortunately, our only, I assume, Finnish friend has left us just now.
Well, we just might as well revel in this next 7.5 minutes of qualifying glory.
Oh yeah. Might as well try something else on here then, if no one else wants to join.
You know what? Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'm just thinking about what. We'll have to scour. We'll have to scour.
We could go crazy and throw a Group C around here, for example.
You'd have more code rounds and then need the defibrillator straight afterwards, I think. Is probably how I would look at it. I would think we'll have to see if there is a car apart from Supercars on AMS2 that would, if we can find the old, like say the Holden Tiranas, like the old school, yeah, like old school Australian touring cars. If there is something on there, like say the old school Nissan Skyline from the 90s, we're talking like R32. We're not talking the R35 GT3 car. If we had something like the R32 GTR, I'm sure there's got to be something that.
There is a Brazilian stock car of olden days that kind of comes close to that, I suppose. Oops. But not really. Apart from that, there is the German Group A. I'm not too sure if it's only the Mercedes 190 and the M3 BMW. I'm pretty sure the BMW raced here anyway, so that could be a...
It did, in the 90s.
Yeah, there you go. That could be an option then. I'm not too sure if there's another vehicle in that class right now, though.
Oh well, if there is a BMW 320i from 1997, okay? Because a previous guest of ours, Mr. David Brabham, has actually won the Bathurst 1000 in a BMW.
Oh, would you look at that?
With Jeff Brabham.
Oh.
And it was the AMP Bathurst 1000 back then. So if we can find a 320i BMW touring car, we can go back to 1997.
I don't think there is one of these in here.
Or if there's a BMW 3, like an M3 of that ilk or something similar.
I think the closest you're gonna get is the early 90s M3 of the DTM or Group A phase. But we can take a look after the session's done here.
Yeah. Riser Studios, get your backsides in gear and give us a 320.
Well, to be honest, I'm waiting for the 83 Bathurst version, as well as the 71 Nürburgring. That's gonna be fun as hell.
Oh dear.
It's gonna be out sometime this month, I think. So watch this space, because we're definitely taking a look at that.
Yeah, that we are. It's going to be quite interesting on that front on any further developments from Riser in that aspect.
Absolutely. I'm also particularly looking forward to the Nordschleife, because we've got a former DNLS winner in our midst, in Danny. So he already mentioned last week that he's probably going to get lost, like, big time. But it's going to be a ton of fun to have a former pro esports racer that won a title, a pretty high level title at that track too, take on the older version, which is a lot different.
And also, folks, some of you may or may not be aware, but there's another iRacing special event this weekend.
Indeed.
The iRacing Bathurst 12 Hours. And also the next round of the DNLS as well.
There you go. That's a tie-in.
Yep. So you've got DNLS, Bathurst 12 Hours, you've got ESLR Run 1 in Katowice for the IEM. But yeah, plenty of sim racing content still to come.
Busy weekend, yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying about us.
Oh, alright.
You've been working on a very, very nice little project, which we are not going to reveal yet, but you're going to have to wait and see on that one.
Indeed. I don't know why I haven't driven this car that often in the past. This is so much fun. What a machine.
That's why I kept on doing the talking, so you can enjoy yourself a bit.
204.6.
Oh, right. Are you going to get... Right, okay.
Should be enough for one more lap, hopefully. Fuel-wise, I mean.
Well, also time-wise as well, because there's 1 minute 38 on the counter, so you should be able to...
Yeah, but I should be able to finish that lap anyway.
Yeah, I'm hoping anywhere between a 2:04.3 and a 2:04.5.
Alright.
I think it's just like if you went, yeah, I want a 2 minute 3.8, you'd be like, yeah, you're freaking crazy, you are. But it's just like, as you said, it's been a lot of fun, but you've also learnt the car a bit more as well.
Absolutely, you can totally see that driving this for a proper event in the future.
Oh, up 7.5 tenths in the first delta.
Real sweaty hours now.
Hey, that's a hell of a lap so far.
Just hope the fuel is gonna be enough. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, you'll make it. I think you'll make it.
Please.
If it was... Yeah, you're gonna make it.
Especially since the line's only around the corner here. Whoa.
If it's like under a litre...
203.1. No, that's a potential. 203.5 flat even. I'll take that.
Not a bad guesstimate.
No, not at all. You know, gave her some jandal.
And F, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or to quote the great Greg Murphy after his lap of the gods, "Ya fucking beauty!" And the AI runs out of fuel. Well, that was good. Alright, so I'm not gonna do...
You know what? I think probably just best for us to... Because you've put in a hell of a lot of effort. I mean, what? We've been on air for nearly an hour and a half now.
Yeah. There's someone apparently talking to me in chat. Interesting. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's just, yeah, my doorbell's just rung, so the dog's probably barking in the background. A few people might or might not be able to hear it. But yeah, I think, well, I mean, Mount Panorama, it's a great track. There's great racing this weekend. There's lots of content coming up on SimRacing Unlimited, so don't forget to follow us on the socials. Check out our website. If you haven't already followed us or subscribed with us on Twitch and YouTube, feel free to do so, and that helps us out every single moment. We really do appreciate it. And Yannick, hopefully very, very soon there'll be a stream where you and I will both be on behind the steering wheel.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Hopefully that might involve Danny as well. So it'll be like, they do say two's company, but three is definitely a crowd.
Absolutely, and a very entertaining one, I would hope. So thank you, Alex, for your intricate knowledge, and of course the company, always very much appreciated. Yeah, for everyone else, as always, take a look at our socials, at our website, simracing-unlimited.com, and of course our YouTube channel. We'll see you next Wednesday with our next stream. Let's see what we can come up with. If you've got any ideas or scenarios for us to try, let us know and we'll take a look at it. Anyway, have a good Wednesday evening, and I'll leave the last words of this stream to Alex Goldschmidt.
Yeah, so that's it from myself and Yannick. I've been his proverbial cheerleader. He's put in the the wheel time. So yeah, that non-alcoholic beverage is very much well deserved. Until next time, thank you very much for watching us here on SimRacing Unlimited. Don't forget, head to the socials, head to the website. We'll see you on Wednesday afternoon next week for another stream. And stay tuned for further exciting content from us here. Until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye.